Good evening. Welcome to the Opinion Box. My name is Levi Kones. Tonight, privileged to have JEROTICH SEII. She is running for Senate in ELGEYO, MARAKWET County, assuming it will be vacated by Kipchumba Murkomen. Good evening. Karibu sana.
Good evening, Levi. Good to see you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm saying assuming because, you know, there's still a senator.
There is, absolutely.
Right now.
Yes, yes.
But given the fact that he's been nominated as CS, there's a good chance that he will be vacating the seat, and then hence the interest in who will replace him.
Yes, yes, yes.
You have been very well known as an active citizen, mostly on Twitter. What has necessitated the jump?
Well, Levi, I've been an active citizen on Twitter, but also on the airwaves and in the court of law. So I've been in the court of public opinion, a court of law, and even on the streets. We demonstrated. We had our switch off KPLC demonstration a couple of years ago. So for me, leadership has always been part of how I have run my professional life and also my active citizenship, where I see that in order for something to be done, one needs to come out and express an interest and also take charge and take the bull by the horns and move forward clearly and with a high level of integrity towards the objective. And so for me, it was a natural progression. And of course, Senator Murkomen is somebody I have a lot of respect for. He has accomplished a lot. He put EMC on the map, you know, and I feel that he needs somebody who will do him justice. You know, he has big shoes that need to be filled. And I come from ELGEYO, Marakwet County. And a lot of these things that I activist about outside, imagine what would happen if I had the opportunity to be in the House of Parliament, to begin to look at the legislative agenda, to begin to look at policy frameworks and make a difference, not just in the life of the people of ELGEYO, Marakwet County, but the whole of Kenya, because that's what I am and who I am as an active citizen, because I believe that we are not okay until everyone is okay. So I'm somebody who sees myself as a leader for all Kenyans, but specifically when it comes to the senatorial seat for the people of ELGEYO, Marakwet County.
Now, was this always in the offing? Because you didn't run just in the last elections. Were you always thinking about this?
I've always thought about leadership and its iteration, but the senatorial position was not one that was in the offing, because at that point in time, Senator Murkomen, and he still is the senator, was running, and he did win. And I did vote for him, actually. So, and I do vote in ELGEYO, Marakwet County. So it wasn't something that was readily on the agenda. But in terms of leadership, it is something that I've always aspired to. And in my professional life, away from my active citizenship, I've been chief of mission, country director, head of department, always in a position where I have led teams and managed processes and provided guidance and oversight and so on. So this is not something that is unfamiliar to me, where I've said, oh, you know, let me give it a go. No, it's something that I have cultivated over the years in my professional life and also as an active citizen.
Yeah. For those who are asking, the SEII name is familiar, but who is JEROTICH?
Who am I? JEROTICH SEII. I was born way back in 74. So I'm 40.
I didn't think you'd say it.
Why? That's when I was born. I was born in 1974. So I'm 48 years old. I'm the daughter of, you know, Major John SEII and Ambassador Tabitha SEII. I have 2 brothers. I have 2 sisters. I am married. I have 3 boys. I'm the mother of boys, very tall boys, and young men, actually. They wouldn't be happy to hear me refer to them as boys, because they are young men. And I live in Nairobi. My husband is European. He's from the Netherlands. So I also have shags out there where I go and visit my in-laws as well, and we have our roots there as well. And JEROTICH SEII is a humanitarian and development specialist. I have lived and worked and traveled across sub-Saharan Africa, working for the United Nations, for international organizations, heading up programs, working in humanitarian response, refugee affairs, public health, HIV and AIDS response. So it's a space of development that I have inhabited throughout my career, which now spans about, you know, maybe 25 years since I graduated from university. So I'm a mother, I'm a professional, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sibling, I'm a niece, I'm an auntie. So I'm just another another ordinary Kenyan. I'm also a businesswoman. I'm a hustler, as they say. I really am a hustler because it is a hustle to run a little business in Kenya today because it's touch and go on a daily basis. So I'm really just another ordinary law-abiding citizen who finally, after many movements in and out of the region, has settled back in Kenya.
Would you say that having famous patronage, this, advantages you?
You know, it's interesting, Levy, because when I expressed my interest in the ELGEYO Marakwet County senatorial seat, I was instantly called dynasty or, your parents and so on and so forth. And, dynasties, have my parents been head of state of this country? Have we been in perpetual leadership? So there's a bit of that. But I come from a family of parents who have been activists in terms of the struggle for the second liberation, the fight for the second liberation in this country. I grew up as a child of parents in the opposition, and my parents paid a very heavy price for their role in that push towards pluralism in the 1980s when I was younger, and I experienced that along with my siblings as we were growing up. But of course, as we grow up, we develop our respective interests. For example, one of the things also that is referred to quite regularly is that my mother is in Azimio, Ambassador Tabitha SEII, and indeed she is. We are a highly democratic family. We vote where we wish to vote, and we still love one another, and we deeply respect one another. So it's a mixed bag. And because I have a lot of respect for my parents and a lot of love for my parents, I'm proud to be their daughter. I don't walk around and hang my head in shame. And I know what they have gone through to raise us and to support the community. My father with his work with the elders, my mother, who was also a political aspirant for many years in KO South. And, so it is a wonderful privilege. It's a blessing. It's nothing more, nothing less than that. So people will interpret it, utilize it as they see fit, but by and large, I haven't been harmed by the fact that my last name is SEII, and I'm grateful to my parents for all they have done. But now I come in my own right as somebody who is, as I said, 48 years old, therefore a complete, fully formed adult with ideas, opinions, drive, direction, and this is where I'd like to step forward as myself, as JEROTICH SEII, as the active citizen, as a senatorial aspirant, and say, here I am, I offer myself in service to the people of Kenya.
It's been quite clear that you're a very independent thinker, even going by your tweets. Now, let's talk about ELGEYO Marakwet County, 4-constituent county.
Yes.
And almost 500,000 people, according to 2019 census. What do you think are still the pending issues that need to be addressed there?
You know, when I think of ELGEYO Marakwet County, I go back to the 70s as I was growing up. And of course, because I did not live in ELGEYO Marakwet County, but we traveled upcountry frequently because we lived where our parents were living and working around the country, I have always been struck by the spectacular beauty of ELGEYO Marakwet County. Have you been?
Yes.
Have you been? Oh, it is spectacular.
My daughter schooled there in Singore.
In Singore?
Yes.
I schooled on the other side in Sacho High School.
Me
and
too.
You went to Sacho?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. So, hey, hello, shout out to everybody who went to Sacho High School. I didn't know you went to Sacho High School. And so I remember even growing up when I was in Sacho High School, seeing the other side, the Kerio escarpment and saying how spectacularly beautiful. But even in that beauty, there's all kinds of issues that need to be addressed. One of the things that has struck me a lot, especially, and that's why I referenced growing up and watching the environment and the topography change, is the degradation of the Hanging Valley, which is that step between the highlands and the floor of the Kerio Valley, and especially KO South, even where I come from, and going up into KO North. By the time you're getting to, what's the name of the hotel, Kerio View, and you're getting to it, you begin to see that there's been a lot of cultivation. It is because people have to earn a living. People have to feed themselves, have to feed their families. But in the process, what has happened is we have lost a lot of tree cover.
Yes. We
We have destroyed some of the water catchment. And these are some of the things that I feel we need to address. And of course, when you go into KO North and you're going up into Marakwet, there's less of that very, very heavy cultivation. And I think there is a case to be made for the restoration of the Hanging Valley as something that is not just for ourselves, but for posterity. There's also the issue of women. women and their economic empowerment. When you see all the women on the side of the road selling their vegetables, selling their fruits at very throwaway prices, you wonder, where is the opportunity to bulk, to be more profitable, to maybe form cooperatives, to add value to their finished products, like you see in other counties. You know, if you go ELGEYO North and into Marakwet, it's a mango country. What are we doing with our mangoes, and how can we add value? How can we make it more profitable? So women and economic empowerment in the realms of agriculture, value addition in the agro processing space. You also see a lot of beehives. What are we doing with honey? You look at Ethiopia, it's the biggest producer of an exporter of honey, and yet we have an opportunity ourselves as ELGEYO Marakwet County to look at that. And then I look at issues of youth. You know, we've talked about the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, and one of the reasons why I supported President William Ruto and still do and voted for him is because of the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, which makes strong reference to young people, issues of employment, issues of unemployment. What are we going to do? You have too many unemployed young people in ELGEYO Marakwet County. It is not unique to the county, but it is something that I would like to take stock of. We are the county of champions. The runners, the athletes come from there. We have young men and women who want to be entrepreneurs. What is the Hustler Fund going to do for them? So the whole realm, young people and agriculture. If we're talking about restoration of the Hanging Valley and the idea of fruit orchards across the Hanging Valley, how is it that young people can tap into that and make money from agriculture, because there is money to be made. Then I look, when I come back to women's role in peace and security. If you go up into Marakwet, which is flanking Pokot and all the insecurity there, what is the role that women can play over there? So as you keep looking, it's women, for me, it's women, it's youth, it's the environment. And of course, I'm an energy justice champion. So we're looking at issues of clean energy. Yeah. We have the escarpment. Why don't we have wind turbines there? We have solar that we can exploit. There's Aurora and Kimwarer and the dam that needs to finally be finished. Can we generate hydroelectricity from there? You know, according to the 4th schedule of the Constitution, counties are supposed to be able to reticulate their utilities, including electricity and water. So is there a potential for ELGEYO Marakwet County to be one of the leading counties also in the production of clean, renewable, affordable, sustainable energy? And so that is something that is also very interesting to me. But as time goes by, I will continue to discuss these ideas. But I want to emphasize one thing, Levy, that ultimately, as a senator, mine is not to come and do the work of the governor and the county assembly or the members of parliament. Mine is to see how to be supportive, collaborative, and facilitative by pushing at the top level for resources to go down to the ground, to understand what the county integrated development plan for ELGEYO Marakwet County is all about, and make sure that I am there to say, can we push resources there? I come from a background, an intergovernmental background, and a space where I have worked within the UN, where I have access to donors, where I have access to resources and potential private-public partnerships and investors and small seed funding here and there. What is it that I can do to bring those resources to bear, even as ELGEYO Marakwet County continues to implement its integrated development plan? So my question, my challenge, my continuous challenge and push for myself is how to push resources to the ground, how to be a catalyst for even better change, not how to micromanage, interfere, undermine, and try and do the work, because in which case then I should run as governor, or run as member of parliament, or run as member of county assembly. But in this particular case as a senator, my role is clear. I'm at the national level. Of course, I have to know what's happening on the ground. I have to understand the issues. I have to have a vision. I have to have a collaborative, cooperative approach with my fellow ELGEYO Marakwet County residents, and take it back to the national. And even while I'm there, it is the broader legislative agenda, because how can I treat ELGEYO Marakwet County as an island? It's not an island. It is surrounded by Trans Nzoia, there is West Pokot, there is Baringo, there is Uasin Gishu. So why would I want to only 100% focus on Elgeyo Marakwet County to the exclusion of all the other counties? So along with the other senators, when we oversight devolution, we'll be saying what can we do to make sure that resources continue to hit the ground and transform the entire country for the greater good of all people.
Yeah, well, you seem to have it quite well covered. Have you begun to go to the ground?
Yes. You know, one of the things people say is, hayuko kwa ground, where is she? and the truth of the matter is I do live in Nairobi. I do live in Nairobi and I work in Nairobi. But how many times have I been to the ground and nobody knows? I could go in and out every weekend. But now that I have, and because I do have a small piece of land on the edge of the escarpment, I do go in and out quite a bit. But now that I have expressed and declared my interest, I need to spend more deliberate time on the ground, which I already have, and maybe by tomorrow I'll be gone back to the ground and meet with the women, the men, the boys, the girls, the leaders, and say, here I am, this is what I would like to offer you. Are we ready to move together? Yeah. Would you like me to represent you at the national level? So ground is there. It is inevitable. You cannot run a campaign remotely. You have to be on the ground.
Do you think that will be used against you, that's Ataishi for ground?
In any case, once you are elected, where do you live? Where do senators live?
Mostly.
It's not
even some governors.
Even some governors live in Nairobi. So, of course, I would have to be closest to where it actually is that the parliament is meeting. But because I am from Elgeyo Marakwet County, I'm a girl, I'm a daughter, I'm a child of the soil there. That is where my parents come from. That is where I come from. I do have my roots there. I do have my home there. So we can juggle. So these are kind of, I would call them almost sideshows to try and delegitimize my candidature, because there's this whole othering of these are the city people, these are the people who don't speak the language, these are the people who are just arriving suddenly, where are they? And I think these are some of the things we need to candidly discuss and get to the bottom of and say, as the people of Elgeyo Marakwet County, what type of representative do we want? Who do we want to have in the House of Parliament speaking to our issues? And once that is very clear, and once it is clear that the person has the grasp of the issues, how does it matter and why does it matter where the person lives? Especially if they are living in a place where they wake up in the morning and go to parliament, and on weekends, tuna in the ground. That's how it works. That's how I've observed it working. So for me, I'll let these discussions play out to the extent possible. But at the end of the day, when people cut through all that noise, they will see substance, they will see content, and hopefully somebody who they would like to have represent them in the House of Parliament as a senator. Yeah.
Elgeyo Marakwet was trending recently for the large number of people who are showing interest in this particular seat. What do you think about it? Is it intimidating?
I think that it is marvelous. And I think it just goes to show how inspired people are and were by Senator Kipchumba Murkomen and what he was able to accomplish. And I think it is wonderful that so many of us fancy ourselves a suitable replacement for the good senator. I think it's a compliment to him that he did so well, that people want to do as well and do better. So it is great. Of course, it's a running joke that if your Boma has not produced a candidate, there's something wrong with your Boma. So everybody is coming out. And for me, who is a believer, I'm a Democrat. I'm a believer in democratic processes. I'm a believer in participation. Let everybody come out who has an interest, declare their interest, state what it is they'd like to do, communicate with the voters, because that is extremely important. The voters are on the ground. That is why going to the ground is an inevitability, because you're not the one who's going to vote for me, and people in Nairobi are not going to vote for me. It will be a case of those on the ground who will vote for me. So everyone must come out. And that's why when I see people trying to chimba each other and so on, I'm like, there is no point. You will never see me saying anything about any of the candidates. I think it's wonderful. Let us come out. The more the merrier. And at the end of the day, there'll be a sifting through and, weeding. And finally, it'll boil down. At the end of the day, you can only have one senator for Elgeyo Marakwet County. So everyone really is welcome to try. And I have met some of them. I was at a funeral a couple of weekends ago in Jegilet in Keyo North, and I met some of the senatorial aspirants or hopefuls, and I was happy to meet them and to say hi to them and give big hugs to the ladies who are also, I think it's wonderful that there are also women who have stepped out and said, we are offering ourselves in service. This is where we should go as the people of Kenya. And the more of us come into the political space, instead of saying politics is a dirty business, we don't want to be involved in politics, the better. So I am so magnanimous in that regard, and I am so pleased that there are so many people, and may the best man or woman win.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the event that you do win, what do you think will make you stay the course? You know, many times there's these complaints that, you know, people are accessible until they win. Or they are, available to us until they win. Alafu wakiingia huko ndani, it's the end of the game.
I'm like, who are you, Levy? I don't know you. I've never met you in my life. You know, I was speaking with somebody who is hopefully who is a voter and hopefully will vote for me when the time comes. And at the end of our conversation, he said, Jerotich, I did not realize that you are so nice and so approachable and so personable. I said, mi huanga mkali on TV, but in reality, I'm really somebody who does not cut people off. I'm somebody who loves people. Why have I done what I have done pro bono for all these years as an active citizen? If it isn't for my sheer love of my brothers, my sisters, my children in this country. I love Kenya and I love Kenyans. And the only thing that I might not have might be enough hours in the day to answer all calls. Even now, I'm looking and I'm saying, I've missed this call. I need to call this person back because sometimes they call, I'm on another line. But I will never be known as that person who just ignores people and disappears. See it during the campaigns for yourself, and also when I get to the House of Parliament, God willing, that I will never be inaccessible. Because if you're inaccessible, then it means that you are seeking election for less than genuine reasons. And when you think of people like my fellow comrade Okiya Mtata, who is now in the Senate, and he was asked similar questions. Now that you're a senator, are you going to disappear and fade into the woodwork? And he said, of course not. So for me, I'm an active citizen. I'll be active citizen senator. I will never let go of the ideals that I stand for. I will not compromise. I will not be compromised. And those who have watched me these past few years, when I have come out as an active citizen, will know that I don't budge. And when there's something that has to be done in the interest of all people and for the greater good, I do not budge. I am unyielding in that regard. I am also not corrupt. I have no scandals following behind me. I've never stolen money. I've not misappropriated anything. I am somebody who is straight. What you see is what you get. So when I get to the House of Parliament, I'll be like this. I will still come to the show. In fact, I would hope then you would ask me extremely tough questions, because where I will agree with you is sometimes, and this was also discussed on another forum a couple of days ago, that once you get in there, the reality of what it means to be in the House of Parliament strikes you, in terms of that balance between pragmatism, activism, idealism, all of those things. How do you make it work? So you want a change now, but kuna utaratibu. So how will you make sure that you follow through even though there is a process? You know, you don't just wake up
without losing yourself,
because you have to understand procedure. There's the standing orders, there's sponsoring of bills, there's how you will debate, there's how you will seek out certain committees, how you will build consensus, how you whip members of your party. Of course, at that moment, I will, and I do belong to the United Democratic Alliance, so I would also have an allegiance to the political party ticket that I'm elected on, and I would also have to look at what the ideals are of that particular party and the objectives and work within that. So there will be some adjustment. There'll have to be a level of pragmatism, but in terms of my integrity, my commitment to do what is right all the time, that will never change.
We'll take a break on that note. We'll be right back. We're speaking to JEROTICH SEII. She's running for Senate, ELGEYO, Marakwet County. Don't go away.